If you clicked on this video, there is a strong chance you have felt different from the people around you for a long time. Maybe you notice things that others ignore. Maybe one small conversation stays in your mind for hours. And maybe people have called you intense, complicated, distant, or even too serious, when in truth, you are simply someone who thinks below the surface. But here is the part most people never understand. Deep thinking is not just about intelligence. It is a whole psychological pattern. It shapes how you see people, how you handle pain, how you build trust, and why you often feel misunderstood even in a crowded room. A deep thinker usually does not accept life at face value. When something happens, the mind does not stop at what was said. It asks what was meant, what was hidden, what caused it, and what it could lead to next. That is why deep thinkers often feel mentally busy, even when nothing dramatic is happening outside them. Their brain is not just receiving reality, it is analyzing it, connecting it, and testing it from different angles. This can make them look quiet, but quiet does not mean empty. Their silence is often full of meaning, memory, pattern recognition, and emotional interpretation.
One reason deep thinkers seem different is because they are often searching for truth, not just comfort. A lot of people use conversation to pass time, protect an image, or avoid awkwardness. A deep thinker often uses conversation to understand character, intention, and reality. That is why shallow talk can feel draining to them. It is because their mind naturally reaches for depth, and surface-level interaction can feel empty when they are hungry for something real. They are often less interested in who looks impressive, and more interested in who is honest when no one is watching. This creates a strange advantage and a strange burden at the same time. The advantage is that deep thinkers can read patterns early. They can sense inconsistency in people. They can hear tension behind polite words. They can detect when someone is performing instead of speaking from a real place. But the burden is that they often see painful truths before other people are ready to see them. When everyone else is enjoying the illusion, the deep thinker may already be noticing the cracks. That can create loneliness because seeing clearly does not always make life easier. Another important part of their psychology is emotional depth. Deep thinkers do not always feel more emotions than other people, but they often process emotions with more layers. A simple disappointment can connect to memory, meaning, self-reflection, fear of repetition, and questions about identity. That is why they may need more time to move through certain experiences. It is not always weakness, it is depth of processing. Their mind wants to understand the lesson inside the pain, not just escape the pain as fast as possible. And because they reflect so deeply, they can grow in powerful ways after difficult seasons, but only after they have fully wrestled with what it meant. This is also why deep thinkers can struggle with overthinking. People often confuse deep thinking with wisdom and overthinking with weakness, but the truth is that the line between them can become very thin. Deep thinking asks important questions. Overthinking keeps asking after the answer is no longer useful. Deep thinking can bring clarity. Overthinking can trap clarity in circles. And many deep thinkers swing between the two without realizing it. Their gift of analysis can quietly turn into mental exhaustion when the brain starts chasing perfect certainty in situations where certainty does not exist. So one of the biggest lessons for a deep thinker is learning when reflection is helping and when it is only creating more inner noise. Relationships can feel especially complex for people like this. Deep thinkers usually do not connect easily with everyone, but when they do, they tend to do it sincerely. They look beneath words, they notice emotional detail, they remember shifts in tone, small contradictions, and unspoken tension. Because of that, they often crave relationships that feel mentally honest and emotionally safe. They do not usually want endless attention from many people. They want real understanding from the right people. But this also makes them vulnerable. When a deep thinker meets someone confusing, manipulative, or inconsistent, their mind may try to solve the person instead of stepping away from the pattern. They can become attached to understanding what should have simply been avoided. Here is where things get even more interesting. Deep thinkers are often not impressed by speed. They do not trust fast certainty, loud confidence, or emotional performances too quickly. Their brain wants to observe. It wants to compare words with actions. It wants to see what remains true over time. This can make them seem slow to open up, but that slowness is often wisdom in disguise. They know that first impressions can lie. They know that charm can be rehearsed. They know that intensity is not always sincerity. So they wait, watch, and build conclusions carefully. That habit can protect them from many mistakes, but it can also make them feel tired in a world that rewards fast opinions. A deep thinker also tends to live with a stronger inner world than most people realize. They replay conversations. They imagine future outcomes. They question motives. They test beliefs. They revisit old decisions and ask whether they were honest, fair, or wise. This inner activity can produce creativity, insight, and maturity, but it can also create isolation if it is not balanced well. Sometimes deep thinkers spend so much time understanding life that they forget to experience it. They can become observers of their own existence. They know how to interpret a moment, but struggle to relax inside it. And that is one of the hidden dangers of a very reflective mind. Awareness without peace can become a heavy way to live. Still, there is something deeply powerful about these people. Because they question so much, they are often hard to fool forever. Because they feel so much, they can become deeply compassionate once they learn emotional balance. Because they reflect so much, they often become wise through pain rather than bitter through pain. And because they are willing to sit with uncomfortable questions, they can develop a kind of maturity that cannot be faked.
Deep thinkers often become the people others come to when life becomes confusing, because they know how to hold complexity without running from it. They may not always speak first, but when they do, it often comes from a place that has been tested inside for a long time. But if you are a deep thinker, there is one truth you need to hear clearly. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every problem deserves deep analysis. Not every person deserves endless interpretation. Sometimes peace does not come from finding one more answer. Sometimes peace comes from ending the question. Mature deep thinking is not about going deeper into everything. It is about knowing where depth is sacred and where depth is waste. This is what separates wisdom from mental self-destruction. A wise mind knows how to explore. A healthy mind also knows how to stop. So, what is the psychology of people who are deep thinkers? It is the psychology of pattern seeking, emotional layering, truth hunger, careful trust, and intense inner processing. It is the psychology of people who can see beauty and danger in places others barely notice. It is the psychology of minds that carry both brilliance and burden at the same time. If you are one of these people, your depth is not the problem. The real challenge is learning how to guide that depth so it serves your life instead of silently consuming it. Because once a deep thinker learns balance, they stop drowning in thought and start turning thought into wisdom.